On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning, Kevin Durant. You should have left California.
This Bronx sesh will upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Morning to all of you. Welcome to Snowman, the morning with Cole Johnson. I am the end of that. Cole Johnson, the other half, will probably join me momentarily. It is a joy to be here 2 days before Resurrection Sunday. And of course, we will get to what pretty much is what's on everybody's mind. The Masters, Tiger's not competing. The regular season in baseball, yeah, but it just started. The NHL getting to the playoffs, okay, yeah. But it's about the NBA, since that's the most prevalent on people's minds for this and next weekend, along with the NFL draft, which is later this month. We will talk about the draft another time. We'll focus on the end of the NBA season on today's Whip Around. To the Eastern Conference we go, and the teams are all set. So we all know that in the playoffs and play-in rounds, it's going to be the Bucks, the Celtics, the Sixers, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Nets, the Heat, the Hawks, Raptors, Bulls. We pretty much know those are the teams that's going to comprise of the 10. Now the question is, who's going to be the 4 in the play-in, and more than likely it's going to be the Heat, Hawks, Raptors, and Bulls. Now the question is, who's going to be 8, 9, and who's going to be 10? Because each of those 3 teams, they are within only one game of one another. With the Heat having a wonderful blowout victory last night against the Sixers in Philly, pretty much solidifying the 7th seed. I don't think they'll catch the Nets for the 6th seed. So more than likely we'll have to gearing up to see the Nets going up against the Sixers, because the Sixers is not going to catch the Celtics for the number 2 seed. The number 4 or 5 seed, that's all sewn. The Cavs are going to be hosting the Knicks. And as I said, the Celtics pretty much sewn the number 2 seed. The number 1 seed, not just in the Eastern Conference, but overall, the road to the championship for as long as they are in the playoffs goes through Milwaukee. The Bucks, with their I think it's 57-22 record now, they have clinched it all. And it was a rough stretch, at least in February and March for them, but they righted the ship, and now they are in playoff contention with having everybody needing to go through them. How about the West? Well, we know 1, 2, 3, and 4 is set. The Nuggets, they clinched home court throughout the Western Conference. They pretty much would not have it. They would not have it if they would advance to the finals against the Bucks. They might not have it, I think, against I don't think they'll have it against the Celtics either. So they would have to cross their fingers and hope that Sixers can actually make it through for the Nuggets to have home court advantage in the NBA Finals. But that is for June. We're still in April. So the Nuggets have clinched home court throughout the West. The Grizzlies have the number 2 seed. If they win number 50, they pretty much will have it sewn. The Kings, congratulations to them. winning the Pacific Division and clinching a first playoff bid for them in in 16 years. They're the 3 seed. The Suns, they have solidified the number 4 seed. So now we have 5 through 8, which is the Clippers at the 5th seed, the Warriors at the 6th seed, and right now the tiebreaker advantage, because both have the same record, goes to the Clippers. The Lakers, who are a half game behind them both, are in 7th seed, and the same with the Pelicans, 8th seed. So 4 seeds, 1 game separates them all. So it's going to be funny. And then it looks like, I think people are jockeying for who's going to play the Kings. So it looks like they want to be the 6th seed, because if they're the 5 seed, they'd have to go against the Suns. And the Suns are a little more experienced and a little more flavorful in terms of championship prestige than the young, hungry Kings are. So then you have, of course, the Timberwolves, who's a game behind them. In the 9th spot, you have the Thunder, who solidified the 10th spot. And then you have, gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this. You have the most disappointing aspect of the whole regular season, the Mavericks. Now, the Jazz, I think they pretty much have played themselves out of the playoffs. They're not quite eliminated yet, but I believe they are. The Mavericks, they were the 5th seed before they traded for Kyrie Irving. And now they're the 11th seed. Sometimes, and people can say, well, it's not Kyrie's fault. Well, it is Kyrie's fault because the team traded for him. So right there, by default, it is his fault. Because you had pieces that got the Mavericks team to the Western Conference Finals last year, and they probably won't be in the play-in round this year. Tisk, tisk, tisk. And that completes today's Whip Around. All right. Let's see. Joining me momentarily in about another 60 to 96 or so will be Sam Shady, as he always does at the bottom of every hour on a Friday morning. But before I do that, I have something else to do. Good morning and welcome to Snowman and the Morning with Cole Johnson. I hope everything is fine with you. Sit back and enjoy all the festivities. And now batting, the man who wears the Yankees fitted like it's on his hair, number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
Everything is good. Everything's good. How about you, man?
I am blessed, man. I'm alive. So
I hear that. I hear that. Well, normally I'm used to this when we're doing Mentality, which we will be recording later today, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to go. But it is not Mentality. It is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And joining us, well, let me do this, and only I can do it. Much better.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you. And joining us, as he does every Friday morning, is the man behind the Shady Sports Network, Sam Shady, our brother. It is a pleasure as always.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me again today. I'm excited to be here as always.
Well, we're excited to have you. We're excited to have you. All right, let me start with, I'll start with the USFL. So now last year, I guess you could say it was a mixed bag of failure and success. Now we're approaching year 2, and kickoff is coming very soon. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's next week.
Yes, sir.
What are the expectations of the USFL for this year?
Well, my first and foremost, the one thing that I'm looking for is attendance. I want to see how many fans they can get in the stands now that we have 4 hubs. I'm very interested to see specifically Detroit. They're playing at Ford Field. I mean, obviously that's an NFL stadium, so it's high caliber stadium. So I imagine fans aren't going to be shying away because it's, like Cashman Field for the XFL or anything like that. But
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see what kind of fan support they can get in some of these states because of that. We got a team in Memphis now, or two teams in Memphis now. We got the two teams in Canton, the two teams in Birmingham, and then the two teams in Detroit. And I think breaking it up how they did, I think is going to be a good thing for the teams because you'll get more support across the board rather than last year when we had 40 games basically in Birmingham, Alabama, and we were expecting one city to support 8 teams when they had a Birmingham named team. So kind of an interesting situation. But it definitely that's the first thing that I'm looking for this year for sure.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that is to me what I'd be looking at. I'd want to see if there is more interest in the product this year versus last year, and I think I think we were excited to see spring football come back, but I think for the most part, I mean, seemingly, uh, analysts, reporters, fans, and even the league itself seem to be reticent on saying, "Okay, I think we're good to go." It's like everybody all around took a wait and see approach,
Yeah,
and I think when they went to having the two hubs that's nearest the two teams here, I think taking that approach, I really believe that is a step in the right direction because I think it's now, and I think you said this last year. Last year they just wanted to get the product on there. They wanted to see what they had, and then you know, and then when they would go onward to this year, they wanted
absolutely.
to uh, they wanted to see if the fans nearest these cities would actually gather some interest in Steam.
Absolutely. And that was a big part of it. And I don't want to say that it's not unfortunate that, they don't have all 8 teams in cities. It obviously is. But to see the progression is encouraging. And then on top of that, you got to consider the fact that they're doing this in a very financially friendly manner. And they're doing that to ensure the longevity of the league. So everybody always wants to talk about, how long will these leagues last? How long will these leagues last? Well, we've
Right.
watched all these different leagues fold
Mhm.
because they were all in on going to 8 cities. They were all in on footing all the bills that comes with that.
Right.
Travel is not cheap, especially
Mhm.
right now. I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked at gas prices recently. That
Mhm.
affects airline travel too, trust me.
Yep.
So on top of that, I mean, you have um you have a situation where now you can still build a market in 4 cities and you have teams that are living in those cities, which I can't emphasize enough.
Right.
Yes, the XFL is playing in 8 cities, but they have a hub city in Arlington where they're traveling out of. So those guys aren't in that city all week long. And I think that's really important because what do you want to see as a fan? I mean, you want to see fan engagement with the players, the coaches. So with these players and coaches living in these 4 hub cities now, you
Mhm.
kind of spread out the talent, you spread out your players, and you kind of start attacking these markets with a lot of promotion on the ground level because that's what it's going to take to continue the success of the USFL and grow it as the future comes.
Now, this is what I find interesting. So I totally agree with you. I think the USFL actually, I think they actually learned some lessons from its predecessor because the 1.0 version of the USFL wanted to attack the NFL right away. It was like, okay, we want to be the big boy along with the NFL, and they automatically and immediately wanted to make a big impact and have a big presence. And to your point, the league basically just imploded in 3 years' time. Now you start to see the XFL 2.0 version say, okay, well, yeah, we saw the mistakes of our predecessors. We're going to slowly burn.
Isn't
And
it
I like that.
XFL 3.0 now?
It is, yeah.
And yeah, and thank you, Wise. I'm glad you said that because I wanted to say, so the USFL is starting to slowly grow itself, but the XFL is basically taking that approach. XFL 3.0 wants to take the approach similar, but not the exact same, but similar to how the USFL 1.0 did, where it's like, okay, we have the teams in their cities, in their markets, and they play in a stadium where that team is.
Exactly.
Talk to me about the difference between how the USFL of today is growing and how the XFL today is growing, or maybe not growing as well.
So I want to point out that a lot of fans want to compare these leagues to the leagues of the past when they're kind of a different entity altogether.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that technically we have the USFL name and we technically have the XFL name for the third time over, but at the same time, these are completely new ownership groups. These are completely new groups that run these leagues, and they have completely different approaches than the leagues of the past. I mean, one of the
Right.
things that has been beat to death recently by XFL fans and XFL, I guess, critics, you could say, are the TV ratings. The ratings aren't where they were in 2020. Well, let's look at what happened in 2020 that was different with the XFL.
Mhm.
Vince McMahon has always been a promotional genius. I mean, you can say what
Yes.
you want about the man off, or away from sports. He obviously has made some questionable choices in his personal life, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
He's always been very good at building a brand, making a product the best it can possibly be. And promotionally wise, he's one of the best ever in the business. So, with that thought, let's look at what they did in 2020. They hit the ground running. They knew what cities they were going to be in. They immediately started promoting all these cities. They immediately started selling tickets. And that's important. I mean, that is extremely important. And those teams were also living in the cities at that point.
Right.
Obviously, they didn't foresee COVID. None of us did. So that's what ultimately shut that league down. And quite honestly, if that had never happened, I think it would probably still be around to this day. We'd still be watching the XFL 2020 just in 2023, 3 seasons later. And, maybe the USFL is a different form altogether. But as far as the USFL growth, I think it's a much more measured approach. I think that their goal is to ultimately have all 8 teams in their cities by next season, even if that requires a little bit more shuffling, kind of like we saw with the Bandits becoming the Memphis Showboats. It wouldn't shock me to see, like, say, the Pittsburgh Maulers stay in Canton and become the Canton Bulldogs, or I don't even know what the name would be, something like that. But basically, they want to be in all 8 markets by next season. I would guess by season 4, they would like to start selling some of these franchises off to ownership groups, which then alleviates the cost even more. Once that starts happening, I would expect that they start expanding the league to 12 teams. And we've already seen them start getting the preliminary trademark rights for some of the names that were from the original league as well. So I would expect to see
Right.
some teams back from the original league once again.
Yeah. And yeah, to your point, XFL 2.0, yeah, it was gathering a lot of steam. I think what you had was the interest of the league in terms of, is it going to be the same as it was 20 years before? And I think when a lot of football purists and enthusiasts saw, okay, this is a different brand. This isn't the WWE style of promotion or even play of football for XFL. A lot of positive energy was infused in the XFL 2.0 brand. And yes, the only thing that stopped it was the pandemic, because I really believe the XFL would have been an entity even now.
Yeah, I completely agree. You hit the nail on the head right there. I think the XFL 1.0 probably would have lasted had they leaned a little bit more into football and a lot less into wrestling.
Hmm.
The money was there. The
Yeah.
support was originally there until
Yep.
we realized how gimmicky it was. I remember
Hmm.
watching the league myself,
Yep.
and then we come up to 2020 and you watch that league, and I think a lot of people kind of watched at first with bated breath, kind of wondering which direction it was going to go. And then when we saw that it was true football with a few changes that were innovative and some that have been adopted by the NFL at this point, I think it was exactly what alternative football fans needed at the time. And I think actually it's kind of a unique view on it, but I think what the XFL did in 2020 more or less helped the USFL come back in 2022, especially because the XFL had not returned quite yet.
100% agree. I was going to ask, do you think the XFL in 2020 helped the resurgence of the USFL?
Absolutely. And I would think that it actually also prompted the MLFB to want to come back as well. They had tried to launch in 2016. It never worked out for them. They tried to come back last season. It again did not work out for them. But we'll see what happens down the road with them.
All right. Well, let's turn our attention to the XFL slate. There are 2 games tomorrow, 2 games on Sunday. Let me see. The Battlehawks are hosting the Vipers, and the Battlehawks are 5-2 right now. The Vipers are right in the basement in the same division at 2-5. What do you see in this game? Who you have coming out as the victor in it?
Oh man, this game's tough. It's one of those games that really could go either way. So I'm very interested to see exactly how it falls. But if I was, forced to pick this game, I'm leaning towards St. Louis. Obviously, they're at home. That's the best XFL home field advantage you can get. The fans are showing up in droves. But the thing is, I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people expect because of the performance of Jalen McClendon. The Battlehawks have shown some holes in their defense recently. So I actually predicted this game recently on our show, Spring Football Reports. I have St. Louis winning 31-27 over the Vipers. I expect Jalen McClendon to have another solid performance, although I expect him to fall off a little bit compared to what he did last week. Last week was unbelievable. I don't think anybody expected his performance last week.
Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't the case. You have the Guardians. That's be the Saturday night game. They are hosting the Renegades. The Guardians in the South are 1-6. They're the worst team in the XFL currently. The Renegades are 3-4. Would say that would be bad, but they're only 1 game below the Roughnecks. What do you see in that one, and who do you think is going to come out as a victor?
So, if you look at the record, Orlando looks like the worst team in the league, right? On paper.
Right.
If you look at the box score from the last 3 games, Orlando looks like the hottest team in the league on paper. So it's one of those interesting games. Once again, I think this game is very much going to slide Orlando's way. I have it predicted, I think, 24-18 Orlando. And I just wanted to say, Ryan, we will definitely get to that before I get out of here today.
All right. The other 2 teams in the South are meeting up. The Brahmas, they are hosting the Roughnecks. What do you see in that matchup? And who do you think is going to come out the winner?
So despite the recent struggles for the Roughnecks, I'm going with Houston. I think this is going to be a big game for them, kind of a get-right game. They're going to end up winning this game 30-18 is what I predicted.
Okay. All right. And the Sunday night tilt, the Sea Dragons, they are hosting the Defenders. Defenders, of course, right now, they're the best team in the league, and at least record-wise they are. But they are not at home. They're on the road. So what do you see coming out in this game? And do you think the Defenders will become 7-1 after Sunday night?
I actually do not. I think Seattle is going to come out of this game with a victory. It's going to be another close game. I've got it 28-25 Seattle. It's going to be one of those games where my prediction scares me because Ben DiNucci has thrown a red zone turnover in what feels like every game. I think he's got 16 turnovers in 7 games, if my count is correct. That's from Pat from USFL News Hub that tracks all that stuff, by the way. He scares me. He scares me. I would have gone to Montez already, but what I do like is that they recently added Philip Lindsay, a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher in the NFL. And I think he's got a perfect XFL back, and he's going to help improve this offense. I mean, they run a run and shoot offense where they like to spread teams out, and that's exactly the scheme that is going to play right into Philip Lindsay's burst. I mean, he's got 4.39 speed, so we're talking about a guy, once he hits the open field, he's gone. So it's going to add an element to this offense that they haven't had recently.
Oh, well, considering that Benanucci's throwing red zone interceptions, it looks like he's closer and closer to becoming the Cowboys' backup quarterback again. I'm sorry, my bad. From the Fanatic Feedback Zone, Ryan McCarthy of No Credentials Acquired Fame, he asks, I'd like to give Mr. Shady's thoughts on the firing of Albany Empire head coach Tom Menace 10 days before the new season begins.
So this was shocking. Tom Menace is one of the best coaches in arena football. I don't care what anybody says. He's a great man, super respectful, treats everybody like you would want to be treated. You know, he treats you with respect until you show you don't deserve it. So I've got nothing but the highest regard for him. So first of all, my thoughts go out to Tom Menace, who was let go inexplicably. If I had to guess, I would assume that there was a disagreement between Menace and the new ownership group of the Browns, Antonio and Eddie Brown. Obviously, we all know Antonio Brown took power about a month ago. Eddie Brown is involved with the day-to-day operations, and I think somewhere along the way, they wanted to divvy from Menace's plan as the coach. He was the head coach and the general manager, so I think he kind of lost some of the power here. And again, I'm speculating. This is not from him. This is not from his mouth or anything like that. So basically, my thought process was that he didn't like the direction that they wanted to go. There was a disagreement, and Antonio Brown opted to move on from him. Antonio Brown tweeted out last night that he has a couple ideas for a new head coach, one of which is current San Antonio Brahmas linebacker coach Joey Porter. And then the other one was former New England Patriots running back and current University of Albany assistant running backs coach Dion Lewis. So definitely interesting. I just published an article about an hour ago about this situation. So if you want a little bit more detail on these guys, as well as assistant head coach and now interim head coach Damon Ware, I wrote up the whole process or the whole situation. I do think that if Joey Porter ends up being the pick, Damon Ware might end up sticking around. They both went to CSU for a time, so there's a chance that they might know each other through alumni groups or something like that. So I would be very interesting to see. And Hawk TV, no, Antonio Brown is an owner of a National Arena League team, the NAL. And also Brent Hundley is now Jalen McClendon's backup. So just to clarify all of that.
And Victor, stop climbing my brain, because every time I see Antonio Brown or hear his name, that's exactly what I call him in my head. Antonio Clown.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too harsh on the situation, because I'm sure there's, some reasoning behind it. But how do you fire a coach after back-to-back championship victories? Like, that in itself, just that statement shows you how ridiculous this decision is. And I know Tom Menace will never say that out of his mouth. You'll never hear
class
that.
of an act, yeah.
He's a class act. But I think there's other reasons why this happened. I think that Antonio Brown realizes that Albany has struggled with attendance in recent years. He understands that his ownership alone will not be enough for him to put fans in the stands consistently. So in order to do that, he probably needs to divvy up the way that they have acquired players in the past. Now, if you're an alternative football nut like myself, a lot of the players that they have on the Albany Empire are big names in this world. But to the casual NFL fan, the fans that you're trying to capture,
right,
they may not recognize any of these guys' names because they've been in and out of NFL camps, and that's about it. But, with Antonio Brown there, obviously there's an infusion of money. In the National Arena League, there's no salary cap, so he can spend as much money as he possibly wants on all of these guys. But at the same time, I would expect that all of a sudden we see a few NFL names start popping into the Albany Empire for this season. And it wouldn't even surprise me if it's on like a couple game basis. Maybe he signs a here for 3-4 games and then cuts him, quote unquote, or something like that. But it's going to be more for promotional purposes than anything. And you bring in an owner like Antonio Brown. What were you doing? You were turning heads. That was the whole
Right.
point of this. So
Yeah.
it's basically promotion without having to spend money to promote, because ESPN and all these outlets like myself are going to be talking about it and are going to be covering that team because of who the owners are now.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking he's starting to realize that ownership is not all that easy, or not as easy as he thought. Ryan says on no credentials acquired, he'll address it next week. But Albany sports fans are extremely fickle. Hopefully this does not cause or have severe ramifications, but he fears that it will. And I can understand how that will. Before we let you go, I'm seeing, of course, we all know this. You're not only a fan of the show, but you're a contributor to it. Behind, for those who don't know, Sam Shady, behind him, he has Eagles paraphernalia, along other things too, but definitely Eagles stuff. And currently, he's wearing an Eagles hoodie, and he has an Eagles Scully. So, what do you foresee? I know the draft is still 3 weeks away, but what do you foresee the Eagles doing in terms of the draft early rounds?
Well, Eagles fans are probably not going to like my answer, because I think we're going to go right back to what we've always done, and we're going to build the team from the trenches out. I expect us to address pass rusher. I'm hoping that we go out and get a defensive end, a guy who's a true defensive end, not a Hassan Reddick type who's going to play strong side linebacker. Obviously, Reddick played really well last season. He's got plenty of gas left in the tank. He can definitely play out his contract. We have some time to develop a backup behind him there. Maybe we see a late round pick at the position, but I do not want to see a first round pick there. So I would expect defensive end. It wouldn't shock me to see an interior defensive line, defensive tackle, or offensive line, just simply because we have a history of drafting these positions in the first round. I would like to see us go out and get a quarterback. Even though that we brought back James Bradbury and we brought back Darius Slay, we still have Avonte Maddox there. We have Zach McPherson, who was drafted in the 4th round just a couple seasons ago. There's plenty of young talent behind these guys, but I personally think that you can never have too many good cornerbacks. And realistically, what happens at the tail end of a cornerback's career, they move to safety anyway. So if you need to and you have too much depth, move a guy to safety. It's not going to hurt anybody's career. It might actually help it. So, I personally think that if we weren't to draft a cornerback and bring him in to develop as the long-term answer there, I think that you could move Avonte Maddox to safety, and then you kind of fix 2 positions with 1 move. And I think that's kind of intelligent.
No, that's good. Because I'm thinking, because I was thinking when I heard the question yesterday, I was thinking, the Eagles, it's like, to me, they don't really have too much of a problem in terms of there's a need, other than to me, just something in the secondary, either a stronger corner to, I won't say replace, but to move Bradbury to safety, or a safety. But I was thinking that the team seems pretty strong depth wise, outside of maybe the offensive line depth. I mean, but I'm saying besides that, it seems like the team's strong in depth. So it's like they have the best of both. They have the best of all worlds in saying, well, we can actually draft the best player off the board. But of course, I do know that's not how the Eagles roll. Like you said, they seem to look at the trenches and then they go out from there, which it's worked for them. Heck, I mean, they're the current defending NFC champs, so it works. So we can't argue with that.
Absolutely. We've had a decent amount of success, and I think some other teams have adopted that approach so far.
Yeah. And I don't fault them for it. I'm glad they are doing that. Sam Shady joins us every single Friday morning. And it's always a pleasure to have you. Tell the people where they can find you.
Absolutely. We're obviously pretty big here on YouTube, Shady Sports Network. Definitely check out our show every Monday night, Spring Football Reports. And then we recently launched another show that's going to be every 2 weeks, Saturday mornings. And that is called Around the Indoor Football World. I believe Ryan McCarthy is actually going to be a guest coming up here soon. So definitely we're going to be talking about CIF, Champions Indoor Football, a league we cover heavily on Shady Sports Network, IFL Indoor Football League, and then National Arena League, which we were just discussing with the Albany Empire. Definitely super excited for that. Super excited for the future of Snowman in the morning and coming on every Friday here. And you can catch me here, like Cole said, every Friday. So appreciate you guys and have a great rest of your day.
And we appreciate you. This is Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Network. If you want to know anything football, and I mean anything football, you go to this man. And it is always a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much, Sam.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. Moving right along on the Snowman in the Morning Show, along with YZF. It looks like the Yankee fitted does come off. That's good to know. All right, so we'll see if Ben's going to join us momentarily. But before then, I'll throw this question at you. Are you happy with how the Knicks have played this year, considering that now they're the number 5 seed and they're pretty much locked in, and they're going to be playing the Cavs in the first round of the playoffs? And he's excited, but we can't hear a thing.
All right, so let me unmute myself. I'm excited because we're a top 5 offense. We're more known as a defensive team.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And these young boys are coming to play. This last game we just had, we had 3 of our young cats score 30 points apiece. Quickly with 39, Grimes with 36, and Toppin with 32. I'm excited because we're actually letting the young guys play. And that game we had no RJ, we had no Julius Randle, and we had no Jalen Brunson. And yet we were able to pull out a victory. So yes.
Cool. Oh, and just got my message. Ben, who normally comes, joins us at the top of our number 2. He's not going to be joining us. So you're getting the Mentality Sports version until Enter the Boom Shakalaka. I'm excited for you too, man. I think what I like seeing is like what you said. I'm seeing this fusion of offense that you don't normally equate a Thibodeau team of having, but this team can score, and it bodes well for them. And I think we saw it when they had their hot streak coming out the All-Star break, when they handed I'll do this for you, sir. When they handed the Celtics 2 nice, tasty it was their offense that did it. So yeah, I'm happy for you, bro, because I think it's not a slam dunk for the Cavs to advance to the next round. I think they have to find a way to offensively do something beyond Donovan Mitchell. And if you only going to have one focal point of scoring versus a bevy of scorers, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for the Cavs.
We just handed the Cavs an L, not just recently.
Which is true.
So, and I think we've won 2 out of 3. I think, I don't know, whatever, tied 2-2, whatever it is. I think it's tied 2. I don't know. But whatever it is, I feel comfortable going into this Cavs series. Because, yes, they got Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric Mobley, you haven't been hearing much about him.
and that was the talk. It was supposed to be they were clearing the way when they got Donovan Mitchell in to have Evan Mobley be the number 2 guy behind him, and I agree. You don't hear much about it.
It's more like he's regressed having Donovan Mitchell on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Would that had happened had he come to New York? Like so, because I like someone made a great point. Julius Randle is supposed to be the star of the Knicks, but to me, it's been Jalen Brunson.
Oh, 100, bro.
To me, he's the one who's made everyone better on that team. He's brought Julius back to his all-star form.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that is the biggest piece that we've needed. We've always needed that point guard, and he's that. Look at the Cavs. Look how much the Cavs are suffering not having Jalen on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought they could supplement that by going out and getting Kyrie. And we see how that worked. They gave up 20 pieces for Kyrie. They gave up Finney Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie with the 2 big keys to that run last year.
Yeah, I just don't get me started on the move the Mavs made to get Kyrie, because I think that's exactly what they were thinking. They were thinking, okay, yeah, we missed that second point guard presence in Jalen Brunson. We'll get someone who we think is better.
But the difference is Jalen, yes, he's a point guard, but he doesn't necessarily have to have the ball in his hand
all the time, right?
Whereas Luka and Kyrie are both ball dominant.
And each of them need to have the ball all the time in their hands.
Jalen doesn't have to have the ball in his hand.
Right.
So that's the difference.
Yeah. And to your point, the Knicks, they won the season series against the Cavs 3-1. So the only victory that the Cavs had was an October 30th, 121-108 victory in Cleveland. So the Knicks have beaten the Cavs the last 3 times they played. So the matchup favors the Knicks.
We listen. They got a good team. They got a good team.
The Cavs do have a good team.
I feel we're deeper. I'm saying
you are.
I feel we're much deeper. We got Mitch Robinson healthy back. That's the key. He's been key because now he's that clog in the middle where you're not coming in and driving and taking it to the hole, because Mitch Robinson's there he is that elite defender.
Yeah.
You have the greatest trade deadline pickup this year in Josh Hart,
that was a good pickup.
Who's the dog that we needed.
Yes, that was a good pickup for them.
The dog that we needed to go get the rebounds, get those extra, just get those gritty plays.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done.
Yeah, the ones that you don't see the box score, but you know
he's a big part of it.
You know he's a big part of the team because the presence is there, and you got a game plan to not have him disrupt what you on the opposing team want to have happen. And because he might get that keyboard, he might get that key hustle play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Key block, key steal.
The key block, the key steal.
And that's what he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And then you get my boy, to me, who's 6th man of the year, Emmanuel Quigley. He's learned, if anyone's gotten so much by having Jalen Brunson on this team, it's Emmanuel Quigley.
I did not know this dude existed until that winning streak that the Knicks went on.
IQ is.
I was like, who is this Quigley guy? Because every time I look up, the Knicks are winning. This dude he's balling. I'm like, who is this guy?
Same draft class with Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
And Obi, the last Grimes. Who knew Grimes would be? The Grimes was supposed to be that 3 and D guy.
Mm-hmm.
These last couple of games, he's taking it to the hole, dunking it, playing great D. His 3-point shot is dropping now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Cavs got a great team, but they're not as deep as us.
I agree.
Not as deep. And yes, all right. Dominant might have a great series, might dominate, whatever, but I don't think they have enough to beat us.
I actually thought that the Cavs, I think, traded way too many pieces to get Donovan because I think it would hurt. I felt it was going to hurt the depth, and I still think it will. Because yes, Donovan is he's a beast. And I don't think Wise would disagree with me on that.
Oh no, he's a
But
great player. There's
yeah,
no doubt in my
yeah.
mind he's a great player.
Yeah.
To drop 70, what was it? He
Yeah.
dropped 71. What was it?
Something
He
like
dropped?
that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To do that is not an easy feat.
No.
So he is a great player,
Mm-hmm.
but
I just think he's going to take too much on his shoulders, though.
yeah, I think they sacrificed a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't make that trade. We got the piece that we needed. We have the young cats stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
RJ has regressed a little on defensively. He's taking it to the hole more, but defensively he's regressed compared to previous years.
Yeah.
So if we can get him going, get him back to RJ, we're looking pretty good. And if not, I think there's other guys that are stepping up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's the thing you have to hang your hat on. The fact the depth of the Knicks is starting to come into full view. And when you have a team that has depth and they go into playoffs, if the moment doesn't get too big for them, that's really good. That bodes well for any team, no matter if it's the Knicks or any other. Playmaker says, "All right, Wise, Knicks Cavs. How many games we talking?"
5.
Wow. The Knicks in 5. Wow. Okay.
Knicks in 5. I'm
All
being
right.
nice. I should have went street, but Knicks in 5. I give him one. I give him one at home.
Oh, Wise is feeling it. He said 5, but I'm being nice and saying 5. Wow. Well, Hog TV disagrees. He says, no disrespect to the all-wise one, but I have the Cavs advancing. And he feels as though the big boys for the Cavs will be putting in work, and the sleeper on their team is Karis LeVert, which I won't disagree with that. Yeah. But it's almost as if you have to wake him up to play.
I think Playmaker doesn't like my prediction of 5. What do you got, Playmaker? 7? You think he's going to 7?
Yeah. So Playmaker says 5.
Yeah, I got 5, man. I have confidence in my team, man. They're playing well at the right time. Yes, they're resting their player. They're hurt, but hopefully by the time playoff time, like I would rest the guys that are hurt the rest of this weekend, these last 2 games, because we play the Pelicans and then tonight, and then we play the Pacers on Sunday to finish out the season. Like we're already locked into the 5th seed.
Yeah.
Rest the players that we need to rest. Get these young cats some more time to play, get them to go ready for the playoffs. And that's it. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what they have going.
Yeah. I'm excited for you, man. Seriously. I'm really excited for you. Victor says, look, Wise is one of my favorite Knicks fans. Well, he's my favorite Knicks fan. Way more tolerable than Screaming A. Smith. Good Lord, yes.
Because Screaming A. Smith...
New York, stand up. I know.
It's crazy because he's like, oh, we can't lose to Donovan Mitchell. It'll be a wasted season. Like, no, nobody even expected us to be the 5 seed. Why are you talking about wasted season? And we lose. I don't see us losing to Donovan Mitchell.
Wait, did he forget that it was just, well, let's see, this is April. 10 months ago on national TV, he and Spike Lee were on their knees begging for a draft pick that we favor for the Knicks. Did he forget that? Because to me, that is the posture of a man who didn't think that the Knicks would be anything remotely close to what they become this year.
Nope. Nobody. Playmaker. Let's be honest, Playmaker. Okay, you had them playing in the playing game, right?
Okay, so Playmaker says, not my official pick, but for personal amusement, it's the Cavs, so Stephen A. Smith can lose it.
The only team I feel is much more deeper than us is probably Milwaukee.
When healthy, yes, I agree.
When healthy, I don't even think Boston is deep as us. Philly is definitely not as deep as us.
Oh no, get past Embiid and Harden, you're good. Because I want to see Maxey do something, but it's like he's like a roller coaster. It's up and down with him.
And it's crazy because him. Imagine the backcourt with him and Quigley in Kentucky.
Yeah,
that was that backcourt in Kentucky at one time.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you say the Knicks in 5 against the Cavs. So if they would advance, more than likely they'll be playing the Bucks.
Yes,
because whoever's the 8th seed, they're not going to beat the Bucks in the first round. I'm sorry.
I would love for it to happen, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love
in
for
the
that.
in a perfect world it would happen. Yes, but
yeah,
but you never know. This is why they play. This is why they play the game.
True, and it would be a good series to me. Knicks Bucks, I think actually would be a good series.
Yeah.
All right, switch it and go out west. So you have the Nuggets. They have home court throughout the West, but they look rather shaky.
Yeah, they don't fill me up with confidence. No, they don't. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
And I would go with Memphis.
I was going to say Memphis. They too look rather shaky.
I would go with Memphis, but with all the bull crap they've been going through this season,
if Dylan Brooks want to act like a thug and John Morant
want to get suspended for stupid stuff. Yes,
right.
They kind of like scare me. The 3rd seed, which
would be the Kings,
which I do love. They got a young squad. I love that they're young and talented. They got a great coach in Mike Brown, who, if it wasn't for him, Tom Thibodeau would be coach of the year.
I agree. I totally agree. And yes, the team I'm rooting for in the West is the Kings.
I would love to see the Kings win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So number 4 would be the Suns.
Yeah, do we really have to discuss them?
No, because they're not going to make it where they want to be. They want to be.
We talk about depth, right? They have no depth. They gave up a lot as well too. They gave up a lot to get Kevin Durant.
Right. Yeah, they don't.
And because we all know in the playoffs, but when it comes time, defense is key. Mm-hmm. They have no defense on that.
And
team.
They don't play defense.
Right. There's Ole, is Matador D all day.
Mm-hmm. And DeAndre Ayton's supposed to be that guy defensively, but like I said about Tyrese Maxey, when his game, Ayton's defense up and down. Sometimes he wants to be a rim protector, and other times he wants to be the Matador. I'm like, okay, decide which one you're gonna be.
We get a Suns Warriors first round. I'm going to actually go with the Suns. I'm going to go with the Warriors. I'm sorry, go with the Warriors.
All right, so Playmaker. So you're saying that you think out of the 5, 6, 7, and 8 between the Clippers, what's if I can get this without even looking, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Pelicans, that the Warriors are going to end up being the number 5 seed? Because currently that would be the Clippers, although the Warriors have the same record as the Clippers currently. But you want a Suns Warriors first round. I guess you want that because of you have Durant going against his former team. Okay, I understand that. For some reason, I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be cool.
I don't think
because I think
the Warriors catch the Clippers.
I don't think they are either.
I don't think. Yeah, Warriors need to worry. And I hate to say this.
Victor.
No, I do. I hate to say this, but yes,
Lakers. I know you're about to go there.
The Lakers. They AD is playing well. Screw what LeBron is doing. AD is playing well, and we've discussed this plenty of times. Where if he's playing well, he is the best player in basketball.
Yeah, when he's playing well, yeah, no guy can stop him.
So, I would be afraid of the Lakers. But they're injury away from choking again. So
the two things
but they're not really deep either. That's the problem with them.
They're not. But yeah, oh Lord, I'll address you, Hall TV. But yes, Playmaker. I think I'm with Wise. I think the Clippers are going to have the 5th seed, so you're going to see the Clippers Suns, the 4 or 5. I think it's going to be Kings Warriors. I think that's what we're going to see, the 3-6 there. But I think the Lakers will get a favorable matchup with if they hang on 7, if they match up with the
Grizzlies. I think they can handle the Grizzlies.
because I think they can go into play in, they win their game, and I think they'll sew up the 7th seed. So I think that's where the Lakers going to be. Now, I have said this, and I have gone to the teeth of, you see, LeBron's doing this, and the Lakers are beasts. And I've said it's because of Anthony Davis being the number 1 option. When Anthony Davis is number 1 option, the Lakers can go pretty doggone far.
Yes.
But when LeBron wants to prove I'm 38, I'm a beast, I can do 38 and I can go 36-8. No 38-year-old man can do that. The Lakers will see plenty of these. And if you don't believe me, look at the game Wednesday night. Because that was the stat line. LeBron scored over 30 points. He pulled down 8 boards, gave you 6 dimes.
The Clippers clipped them.
And the Clippers clipped him. And Davis was a non-factor. And that is, to me, a recipe for disaster. Because I think 2 things are going to befall them. One is that mentality of LeBron thinking he's the best player in the world still, but he needs to cede that to Davis because Davis, when healthy, can do things LeBron simply can't. And their depth, which leads to the fact that, well, the team, since they depend on LeBron so much, is long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to me to say, okay, I think this team can go far. Because sometimes they don't want to go with Anthony Davis as number 1 option. They want to say, well, all right, LeBron, you're the horse. Even at year 20, take us there. So, Kane will come back to be seated early in the playoffs. At least, though, he won't be typing on Twitter that I missed the playoffs. He'll be typing, I missed the finals.
Yeah.
Vic, I love this comment, man. I love this comment. Well, there's 2 of them. One of them is, Wise was still short off that LV sure look.
I'm about to go get a haircut and a shave, so.
And he says, as far as the West, it's ABL, baby. ABL. Anybody but the Lakers. But he says he agrees with you, man. He says, but they're not going to utilize Anthony Davis like he should.
Because LeBron has to show off and show that he is the man, and he's going to cost them the first round. They're going to lose in the first round, so
yeah. And they're going to have King nothing facilitate the office, and that's the problem. That is the problem. I'm like, how is it that we can see this as clear as day? I'm like, Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, and you give him the option to be the number 1 guy on the team. And you got a chance to see this when LeBron was on the bench. The team was far better.
They were winning. They were listen, when the ball went around to AD and this is without D Russell,
right?
Without LeBron, they were still winning.
Right.
Reeves stepping up.
Yeah, Reeves stepped up. That was the key. It was Austin Reeves.
But AD was your best player.
Yeah. Yeah. And credit to D'Angelo, when he came into the mix, he fell in and found his role and found his niche in the grand scheme of things. And they played even better.
And their bench consists of Dennis Schroeder. I don't really know anyone else on that bench. I don't really know how deep that bench is. I think they added a couple Vanderbilt, whatever he's doing. They added a couple of pieces, but that bench is not as deep as other teams on the West.
TV. Oh, sorry. Playmaker says, look, the Lakers are great, but they can't beat Kawhi. The reason why that they couldn't beat Kawhi Wednesday night was because LeBron got his feelings and he wanted to go one-on-one to prove that he was better than Kawhi and that Russell Westbrook was a liability on the Lakers. And because of it, the Lakers took him.
They did.
Yeah. Oh, and Hall TV says, no, you're talking about Rui Hachimura.
Yeah, they've
To me,
added
it's-
some pieces. They got some pieces.
Yeah. To
They're-
me,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. They're
No, go ahead.
more talented than what they were before the trade deadline.
Yeah, but to Wise's point, to me, that bench is Hachimura and Schroeder.
Yeah.
No, who else? Who else? Hall TV says, look, T'Challa had to go eat fruits with the infused vibranium, or when King Arthur was able to pull Excalibur from the rock. LeBron makes the impossible possible. Shout out to the Lakers. Nah, LeBron is the ultimate team player. Okay. When you can score 30, put on 6 boards, give you 8 dimes, but your the team still takes L's, how much of a team player really are you?
This goes back to when he broke the record.
It's the same formula.
Nobody. Okay. Yeah, he broke the record, but someone who just wants to focus on winning wouldn't have cared about the record. They're like, no, we lost it. We took the L. I think like it's all right. I'm compared to like Jeter and he didn't care about accomplishments. He cared more about team wins. So whenever to me, it's like he worried about winning more than he worried about stats.
Yeah.
And listen, okay, great, you're the all-time leading scorer, but you took an L. That should be burning you up. Like, and that took like all this time to celebrate it, but y'all lost. To me, it's
and to your point, Jeter still ended up with 3,000 hits for a career. So yeah. And that's what you want out of your best player. You want him to say, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna get this record, but that it pales in comparison to what I really want. I really want them W's. So yeah, I'm sort of with Wise and Vic Hawk TV. He said, look, that Hawk TV is an unmitigated fabrication. He also goes, the Lakers are not smart enough to utilize the best player on that team, which is a healthy Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Drop that mic, sir. I've been saying it for the last 3 years. You cannot tell me a person who is far past his prime is better than a player who's in his prime.
I'm not saying he's far past his prime, because I would take him over average. But the fact is, Anthony Davis is the best player on the team.
I agree with you.
His time of being the greatest player on earth is over.
I agree with you.
He's a great player,
yeah.
But this should be Anthony Davis's team. It's kind of like when Shaq had to sit back and give it to Kobe.
But he didn't want to relinquish it. Yeah.
No, he did not. No, he did not. And it seems like LeBron is being that. And Ryan McCarthy made a great point. The Lakers have always been that big man team. Mike and Wilt, Kareem, Shaq. Why not AD?
That's what I was thinking. Thank you, Ryan. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, this team has been predicated on the big guy ever since Mikan.
Yeah.
And we're talking mid-50s. So a franchise that's 7 years strong has been, if the most success they've had has been with the big man. Yes, even with Kobe being the number 1 guy and winning the 2 chips without Shaq, his number 2 player was Pau Gasol. So
another big man. Another
big man. So so yeah. Good point, both of you. Mikan, Chamberlain, Kareem, Shaq, Gasol, AD, who I thought got robbed of the Finals MVP. I may add. To me, that's where the bread's butted. And yes, This is not a Snowman's take of LeBron sucks. No, I really do believe LeBron is far past his prime.
Listen, we already know he's a hater. He's a hater. He's a what? hater.
Hater Hall of Fame trash.
We already know that. We already know how Snowman feels about LeBron. We know this. We have bias against LeBron. He will admit this.
Yes,
but
never will.
AD is supposed to be the man on that team. That's
AD, yeah, he is. He is supposed to be the man.
We're not hating on him right now. We're just stating the facts that when AD is healthy,
the team
and he's playing at the level that we know he can play, the Lakers are a much better team.
They are. They're a much better team. They're a much more cohesive team, and they are a far more dangerous team. And as I said, this is not a shot at LeBron when I say this, but LeBron is far past his prime. It is not. It is not. When I mean far past his prime, it is not. It's not even the 2014 version of him that we're seeing. Heck, his name close to Charles, an ET version of him. And then he was 33. So 33. I'll even say that was prime LeBron there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not there. That's what I mean by he's far past.
No, he's not. Listen, he's still better than the average player.
He is. He is. Oh yeah, no question. He is.
But he's not the best player on that team. He's not the best player for that team to win.
He definitely is the best player on the team.
If he's your best player, you're not going to win.
Thank you. And that was, to me, that was 2021. No, 2020. Yeah, 2022 in a nutshell. It was like they wanted him to be the best player on the team, and the team didn't make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But everybody was happy that he was getting the 38-6. I'm like, okay, fine, you're getting them stats, but they're still losing. How good is that?
That's what they do. They want to talk about his stats. That's what they want to celebrate, his stats.
I mean, the team was just get whooped by 25 points. Oh, but LeBron, he scored 30. Cole, I don't believe that. Yes, I believe that. LeBron's
believe that what AD is the best player on that team,
and AD is the best player on the Lakers. Yes, and it's not.
He's number 2.
Yes, I've said this, and I'll say this. I'll bring in, of course, our esteemed guest after this. I have said this. LeBron needs to commit to be Robin on the Lakers. I'm sorry, he needs to be the number 2 guy on the team.
Yes,
he needs to be. If he's serious about getting another ring, Davis needs to be the number 1 guy, and LeBron needs to be the main facilitator for him.
Yes, he needs to be Magic to Kareem.
Yes, Kareem. Yeah, to 80s Kareem. Yes, and think Kareem circa 1980 when he could just simply destroy anybody who was guarding him.
Mm-hmm.
That is what LeBron needs to be. He needs to be his main facilitator. And if he's not going to be that, and he's going to bogart everybody, and he's going to act as though he's the best player in the world, he's not. And the team's going to lose. We have 56 games of that last year, and he isn't as good this year as he was last year. Sorry.
And then what did it get them last year? It got them him tweeting, "Oh, I hate this feeling," whatever he tweeted, that this will never happen again.
This will never happen again. Yeah. Thank you, Hawk TV. That's my point. I just want him to just commit to be Ramen. I'm not saying he's garbage. I'm just saying that he can't control the team on the floor the way he has, because it will be to the detriment of the team's success.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But if he can be the number 2 guy, I think the possibility of another ring, if they could get more AD and LeBron, is possible. Yes, it's possible. But what isn't possible, but it is probable and likely, is we have our esteemed guest every Friday coming up.
We're done
right now. And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god
the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
I just got something to say. Before base, I love you. I just got something to say. Cole.
Yes, sir.
I love you, man. I love you. That's the first time I've seen that.
Yes.
That's the first time I've seen it. The first time you played it live. I'm sure you played it before.
Yeah.
This is my first time seeing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
He's a fool. He is a damn fool.
The look on your face was priceless.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm like, but welcome, Chris Base. But yes.
As he joins us every Friday, the man that puts a smile on everybody's faces, no matter who you are. It is the legendary Chris Base. How are you doing, man?
Good morning, my people. Good morning, gentlemen. Of course, shout out to Rayman. Good morning to the mad scientist. Good morning to Wise All. The expression you just had was real about what the man can do. It's stone cold genius.
Thank you.
Stone cold is the more I can say. It's nothing said to be said because it's already been said already.
Yeah. It's to the point where it was so good to even base Wise. He asked me the day that I unveiled it, he says, look, send that to me because I'm gonna play it on baseline. And he did.
I do. After the standard introduction that the mad scientist creates, I come on there for a few minutes and then just let it roll. Let it roll. So thank you so much. In fact, I gave you a shout out Wednesday when I was doing the base breakdown. We talked about Trump and the Chicago mayoral elections here in the city.
Yeah.
And I had a great friend of mine, fantastic broadcaster and anchor, Art Norman, gave you props on those introductions, man. Because hey, every time somebody mentions about it, I talk you up, and because hey, man, what can I say, man? It's cool beans.
Wow, getting love from legends. That's awesome. Wow, that is awesome.
Absolutely. Awesome. And of course, shout out to everybody in the comment section. Good morning, boom shakalaka to all.
Yeah, well, and a good morning and a boom shakalaka to you, sir. So, what is on your mind, Mr. Base?
Well, I want to ducktail where you talked about the whole thing about the Lakers, LeBron, and AD. You are right in your assessments. LeBron has to realize that you can't escape Father Time.
Nope, undefeated.
You've had a great run. Not saying that he's going to retire anytime soon,
right?
Because I know he wants to play with his son Bronny and stuff like that. I think it's goddamn ridiculous, but that's his life. That's his son. But really, but you cannot escape Father Time. And I think that regardless of your Michael Jackson chamber you have at your home and breathing in oxygen and I don't know, whatever he does to maintain to be fit, Father Time has a way of creeping up on you and you can't escape it. So I think that ego-wise, it would be nice. But see, AD is like first name Mr., last name Glass. If he can maintain his health.
Problem. That's the only big time problem.
Right. If he can maintain his health, dude's a beast. He's a monster. And you have to relinquish your time to your possible future of the franchise. So ego-wise, LeBron gotta say, look, man, I can't play this game forever. It'll be nice to do it, but I can't. Let me get a responsibility to AD. But AD has to be healthy. And that's the only caveat in the whole conversation.
Yeah, and that's what we've all said is if he's healthy, he's the best player on the team.
Yeah,
without
question.
Yeah, we've all expressed that throughout the season. So to me, right now he's healthy. He's doing what he's doing. So step back, let him be the man.
Yeah,
but if you've been the man since what, grammar school, high school,
it's hard to relinquish.
It's hard to let that
relinquish
go.
It.
Right, exactly.
And I think that's what we're seeing. Wonderfully said, Base. I think that's what we're seeing. I think we're seeing LeBron that he still feels as though he's that guy. Whenever he steps on the court, he's the best player of the 10 that's on the court. And I think he still feels that way. And I'm not saying that he might not have one of those. He'll never have those nights again, I'm sure. I'm sure
Yes.
he can step on the court and be the best player of the 10. Yeah,
Absolutely.
sir. But every night, no. And you said the statement that I wanted to have someone say. Father Time's undefeated, and even LeBron can't beat him. And we're
Exactly.
starting to see it.
Yeah, and you're a poet and don't even know it. And look at you rattling all those rhymes. Man, I was about to put a bass line behind you, just start rocking the head, our head and rocking and stuff. So, and you're absolutely correct. The thing about it is, what with LeBron being who he is, and once again, being a king, can you relinquish your crown?
Yes.
And I don't think he can do it. If he did it for the betterment of the team organization, that's what you need for the future.
Right.
But you have to be a certain person. So again, since damn near birth, this man's been the chosen one and King James and everything else. And nobody's saying you can't be the king, but let the prince come up and do his thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So he could be king one day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I just hope he isn't thinking that he'll get to that point because it'll be his son. I hope it's not.
Yeah, I think so. I think no, the whole Ronnie thing, I told you before, I don't really care for it, but I think that's his goal, obviously, to do that. And as Scooby-Doo once said, Rasa Ruck.
Rasa Ruck, beautifully
Rasa
said.
Ruck.
Beautifully said, Rasa Ruck.
Rasa Ruck. So as everybody online and on television, everybody was talking about the whole thing with LSU's Angel Reese. Congratulations to them winning the championship, by the way.
Yes.
And the whole, right, exactly, the whole you can't see me thing. I was, of course, Caitlin Clark did it. No big deal. But when she did it, it's ignorant. She's an effing idiot and everything else. Just
She's ghetto. Yeah.
Exactly. All the type of stuff.
She's hood.
So,
yeah.
Everything that we do, people of color, is going to be attached to that. Why? Can you just have racism out here that's always run amok? Racism 24 hours. Racism is a never-ending battle. Let's get it up front. So, in the comparisons between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, first of all, let's get it straight, because everybody keeps talking about John Cena. Tony Yayo from G Unit, that's where that came from.
Yeah. John Cena said that's where he got it from.
On the Tonight Show, right. He did. He did give credit. But you have to know your history. So it's key to do that because, first of all, you won't be in the dark. And second of all, there's nothing wrong with that. Knowledge is power. So let's get it straight from where that came from. Like I said, you're right. John Cena just said on Tonight Show that he got that from Tony Yayo from G Unit on the videos and stuff like that. So it's sad commentary that we have to go through this, and we shouldn't explain ourselves. In the heat, first of all, I love it. In the heat of a battle on the basketball court, baseball, football, whatever, that's just competition.
Thank you.
Listen, if you want guys to enjoy women's basketball, you want them talking smack.
Thank you.
And they do.
Yes.
You want them talking smack to each other. You want them to playmakers. Caitlin did defend.
Yeah, she defended Angel. Yeah.
She did defend her because she's like, I'm a competitor. I do this. I'm always talking trash. That's where they come from. These are girls that played on court with guys growing up,
right?
So they know what it is to trash talk. I see nothing wrong with it, but yet because she's black, it's an issue. She's classless. She's a ghetto. She's this, that.
Yes.
That's why I sent you the message last night. We have to talk on that dude because of what he said.
Yeah, we are. And the dude he's talking about is Barstool's owner, Dave Portnoy, and we're definitely going to talk about him on the episode of Mentality. But yeah, I saw a ridiculous side-by-side image, or I should say videos of Caitlin Clark doing the same gesture as Angel Reese. And, with the Caitlin's, it was like, okay, this is Caitlin Clark. Film over.
Right.
And you have Angel trying to basically catch Caitlin's gaze doing this. And you're saying, "Oh, this isn't sportsmanlike. This is bad sportsmanship." No, it's not. Were they actually doing that at the handshake line? Then that's not bad sportsmanship. That is within the paint. And I didn't see the clock go down to 0. I'm sorry. If the team ahead, if a player on the team ahead is looking at a team that's behind, that's trailing, and the clock hasn't hit 0, I'm sorry. They have the ability to say scoreboard on the court. I want to see that because I want to see the athletes. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. I want to see the athletes actually be engaged and be competitive to the point where it's like, that's what I'm talking about. Give it to them. For example, people back in our youth, when Larry Bird was on the court, you hear guys who played with him, they seem to talk as glowingly about his skills of trash talking as they did his skills of hitting threes.
But that's because he backed it up. Because he was telling guys, yo, I'm going to stand on this corner and I'm going to shoot 3 threes and hit every single one of them. I'm going to step back over here, cross between my legs, bounce it off your head, and then shoot a 3 and hit it in. He was doing he was calling his shots. So it's one thing if you're going to trash talk and you're going to back it up.
He was a bad boy, man.
Saying it's the difference. And she backed it up. She won the national title. Her team won the national title.
And then another thing about the Angel Reese thing, it's like they wanted to insult her and say, well, she wasn't the best player on LSU. Excuse me? 39 games they played, 34 times she gave you a double-double.
Double, yeah.
You need to shut up with that, please.
Yeah. And they hating on her because she calls herself the Bayou Barbie.
Cool. And she knows how to brand herself. You know what?
Yes.
Tipping all the caps to her.
She
It's ridiculous. And I agree with you, Base. Racism littered all throughout this commentary and all throughout the presentation, but people don't want to claim it nor see it.
No, they're claiming unsportsmanlike conduct.
No, unsportsmanlike conduct would be last year, the end of the Michigan-Wisconsin game where Juwan Howard took Wisconsin to task and the fight broke out in the handshake line. That's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Mm-hmm.
What we saw with Angel Reese to Caitlin Clark, that's just in the spirit of competition. You saw one player say to another scoreboard. And you know what the other player did? Okay. And just rolled with it. How a player, when you get spanked, is supposed to do.
Well, it's funny. As we talk about college women's basketball and championships and things of that nature. So coming up, like playing on the basketball courts like anybody else, there was always one girl that I always saw. Well, I was coming up, it was only one girl. She was hardcore. I mean, really. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you think that she was dude-like in the way she walked, the way she handled the rock, and everything else. But I liked her, and when I would play against her, and I got a chance to choose all 5, she on the court, and now they just say, "What's up, N-word?" Now, mind you, like other N-words on the court, but she looking at me. She's like, "What's up, N-word?" I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" Well, look, I saw what you were doing earlier, and I thought maybe next time, we could roll together. All right, bet. And so the next time I got those 5, I chose her first. But that's what I'm talking about, my Negro and everything else. And so she, of course, didn't use Negro, but you know what I'm talking about. So we dapped and carrying on. She ran point. I was a 2 guard. And we actually did well together. And so, of course, you get, oh, man, why are you choosing that lesbohemian and things of that nature, all types of derogatory stuff. Dude, I didn't care. First of all, don't say it to me, say it to her.
Right.
And I got money on her because she can go.
Right.
And so where women have come from and continue to go to the level the way they have gone, give credit when credit's due. The constant not liking a person because of their sex and things of that nature is just straight ignorance. Straight ignorance. I mean, look, I saw her with her handles. I had to work on my game. She inspired me when nobody was around to work on my handles. So when you put the differences, I never had a problem with that. But of course, dudes on the court talking trash and everything else, she would talk trash right back to him and give him the business. So competitiveness is always great as long as it doesn't escalate. Damn,
Right.
I myself didn't even know it. So there you go.
There you go.
So when that happens, it's a matter of respect across the board. And last week I was talking about my basketball stories growing up, and I wanted to share with everybody. So growing up on the South Side, I grew up in a neighborhood called South Shore, and we lived by the lakefront. And there was a basketball park, Eckesall Park, which is 4 blocks from my house, and that's where I played basketball at. So I remember, you see familiar faces, guys and gals you run with all the time. And there was this one brother who I always played against. He always picked this dude who couldn't play. That amazed me. For like 2 summers straight, he passed the ball. He couldn't catch it. He couldn't shoot. He couldn't defend and nothing. So he cussed him out. Well, man, nigga, what's up, man? I'm tired of your mama. So I was like, but why you pick the dude? I know I never asked him that until summer number 2. And we're out there playing around and everything else. And their team lost, my team won. So usually some of us would do like a beer run. So if we get finished playing, we're tired, sit in the shade in the park next to the basketball court. Somebody make a beer run and come back. So one of the guys make the beer run. I figured this opportunity to ask him. I said, dude, let me ask you a question, man. I've seen you now for 2 years. And you get the dude. Why you get the dude? Oh, man. That's my cousin on my mama's side. I said, well, I'm sorry, but dude can't play. I know, man. My mama told me to take care of his ass.
I knew it had to be something related to that.
Exactly. So now, the Pandora's box went open. So my man comes back with the beers. We got like 2 6-pack tall cans, Old English 800. Got 2 apiece. Everybody put in. And so my man who kept losing, he asked his cousin, hey, man, can I get a can of beer? Let me ask you a question. You score any points? Nope. You defend? Nope. Did you have any assists? Nope. Go over there and drink water. And he would somber his ass over to the water fountain, start drinking water. We over there drinking beer. But all that time, now it made sense. Because I don't know why he picked dude. Now it turned out to be his cousin. So, man, I the basketball gods, I don't know, man. They were not shining upon dude.
Obviously not.
Man, I'm telling you. Another thing I wanted to talk about was I want to recommend a documentary that I've seen. If you're a boxing fan or just like the documentaries, Pariah, The Lives and Deaths of Sonny Liston.
Ooh. Yeah. I got to see that.
Yeah, see that. It is enlightening. And of course, it deals with him being, he worked for the mafia.
Right.
As a fixer, quote unquote, pretty much, breaking bones and stuff like that. And how he got to become a boxer. And he was kind of Mike Tyson before Mike Tyson got on the scene, but just more edge and more connected to the mafia was concerned. And becoming champion, and a lot of people did not like that. Of course, that's when Muhammad Ali, or at the time Cassius Clay, came into play, and they fought 2 times. And to hear his story that really nobody talks about is an incredible journey. It ends bad, unfortunately, but it has a great journey of
it's real tragic.
Who he was and why he became who he became. And let's take into consideration, too, this is the 60s.
Right.
This is the time that Malcolm X was silenced from the nation for going what he said about chickens coming home to roost, about the death of JFK. Right. So now he's silenced for 90 days. During this time, he connects and was connecting to Cassius Clay. He became a spiritual advisor, went to Miami with him while he trained.
So we're talking late 63, early 64.
Exactly. There you go. And so it was, of course, Malcolm's family, who never had a vacation before, went to Miami for 3 months, along with, of course, Malcolm being the spiritual guide for then Cassius Clay. And that made the news because they were like, wait a minute, the whole Big Mouth thing and all this other theatrics. And it was like, he's talking about joining the Nation of Islam. All this controversy was going on.
Right.
The 60s was a decade of change. If any decade made change, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, was the 60s.
Yeah, I've heard it called turbulent. So yeah, whenever I would talk to my father about it, he said, yeah, It was as turbulent as people described it. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And a lot of people were taken out. When you hear about the assassination of Malcolm X, and then 3 years later it was Dr. King, both men were 39 years old
when they died. Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
They came off older than their age. When I was a kid, I thought they were much older.
They did. Both of them did. Yeah.
Both of them. But 39 is young, doctor.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So if you get a chance to check out the, once again, documentary Pariah, The Lives and Deaths of Sonny Liston, please check it out.
Oh,
I highly recommend it.
Victor asks, where'd you find that documentary?
Showtime.
Man, Showtime comes with some nice documentaries.
That's my go-to now, Showtime.
Because yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it. The one on Magmada Dura Roof.
Yeah.
That one I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been all right. Now, I mean this sincerely because I love the brother. Last time, a few times I was on. Who's the brother that keeps the mic in front of him? Is that Playmaker?
That would be the Playmaker.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Now, this Playmaker, you look, man.
Wait.
What? Yeah.
Wait. Before you go,
Sure.
For those who are not aware of what he's talking about, here's a description of it.
Now, forgive me not knowing the brother. You got your mic, but I don't know who the hell you are. It's like you're in the broadcasting witness protection program.
Yes, that's Playmaker. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I get it because it's definitely different. Because I've never seen it before in my entire life. Somebody hiding behind their microphone, and you may not think you're hiding, but that's how it comes off sometimes. And once again, I don't know if you pissed off somebody and so you owe them money or something along those lines, or stole somebody's underwear. I don't know. But it's an interesting dynamic, to say the very least. And I think a lot of us would like to see what you look like. I mean, just that. But if you will continue on and put that mic in front of your face, which I think he will, more power to you. And Rasa Ruck, because that gets on my nerve. I can see here in front. I like the brother. I think he's all right. It gets on my damnness of nerves.
Well, he's not. It's okay. So some people, the ones who know his friends have seen this, but it's like he kind of reminds you of the guy from Home Improvement, the neighbor that you only saw the
right.
Eyes.
Exactly.
That's
there you go.
That's all you can see. Yeah.
The next door neighbor that's with the fences and everything else. Right.
Yeah.
Jeez
but
Louise.
The moment you said that, I was like, okay, so now I'm gonna have to create something for Playmaker. I have to. Because when you said the Broadcasters Witness Protection Program, I was like, oh my gosh, that's some poetry right there.
Man, I don't know what else to call it. I mean, I don't know who he slapped or what he has done in his life to hide thy face. I don't know. It's ridiculous to me, but I don't know. I pray for brother. You understand? I pray for this brother, man, because he might get hurt.
Victor says I always call him Dr. Claw.
Man.
Oh, wait, Ryan. Playmaker is an underpants gnome.
It's an interesting gimmick. I really believe it. And he's getting known for it. And I'm all for content and creativity and everything. But God damn it, man, that whole thing about blocking your face is just it takes me aback. And I don't shock easily. I'm not shocking on and everything else, but it's like, dude, I mean, I believe it's as simple as I think he pissed off somebody, and I think they're after him. So you don't use he doesn't use his real name. The Playmaker stuff is his code name that he goes by. He owes somebody money, and they're coming after his ass.
I did not think he was gonna go in on the playmaker, man.
I love that brother, but ooh wee.
Oh, he says that might change this summer. Base.
Ooh, holy smokes and Jesus. Okay.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's getting out of the witness protection program. So
man. I'll throw you a party, Doc. It's gonna be Can You Feel a Brand New Day?
No, not the Wiz song. Oh no.
Hey man, Nipsey Russell couldn't sing, but he vocalized his parts. He talked his parts.
Oh gosh! Shout out to the late Luther Vandross for writing the song. But oh my gosh!
What you say, my man? Once again, Nipsey Russell was a fantastic comedian, broke barriers and everything else, but couldn't sing a lick.
No, he couldn't.
So all he did was talk his song parts. Well, I knew that we'd be free somehow, free at last. That's all he said in the song. God love him when he did. You know, what can I do if I can finally feel? Or he was talking it.
He tried to do some melodic pieces to it. Though.
Oh, it didn't work. It didn't. We're talking about Nipsey Dan Russell here. Come on, man.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, he tried though.
Oh my gosh.
Oh help.
Oh Lord.
Playmaker. Says, God bless your ministries, Doc.
He says, I'm being immortalized and I'm not even on the show.
Dude, game changing the game. Now watch. Look, watch this. So the more exposure Playmaker gets, you have other people following him behind him, putting their mics in front of their faces too. Watch. Mark my word. That Negro's on to something.
Oh Lord. No.
He's gonna spark. I'm telling you, it's not. I don't know. I could take a few more of those people. Yes, I call them those people. If they start to manifest.
You could call them those people. Oh.
I call them those people. Yeah.
Oh gosh, man!
Microphone in front of the face. Here comes those people.
You have made Playmaker's days as I'm dead and laughing his butt.
Resurrection is good. Come on, man.
Laughing his butt off.
Oh, gosh. God love you, Doctor. God love you.
All right, so you had, if I'm not mistaken, you had an election in your way.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the person who you have called Uncle Lori or Uncle Foot is no longer the mayor of your beloved city. So how did the election go, and was there any unrest, or was it just smooth?
Well, it wasn't kind of smooth because you've had Black leaders who were going with Paul Vallis, who happens to be white,
right,
and Brandon Johnson is African American, so Caucasian versus African American. So you had a lot of Black leaders siding with Vallis, and a lot of people began to tell them they were sellouts, and they were not good for the community. How dare you do that type of thing? And Johnson had more of a grassroots environment. He more of a hands-on with the people, man of the people. And I saw him in his first debate when he had other candidates involved. He looked like he had the job to me when he was, just very impressive. He wasn't attacking anybody. He was there for the people, and he has some very good points to make. And so it looked like it was neck and neck at one point for the voting. Then all of a sudden there was an uptick for Johnson. It went like 51 to 47 at one point. Mm-hmm. And based upon that, Vallis had his speech where he said, "Look, I'm out." And then all of a sudden you see the speech of Johnson claiming to be mayor-elect. It was very interesting, to say the least. And go back to the Foot,
mm-hmm.
you cannot run or try to run a city and put your light foot down and say it's my way or the highway. That's just not how you do things.
Oh, that's how she was? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, she was like that. She was that person.
Oh, wow.
And so you cannot, and a lot of people who are aldermen, they quit. Oh. We had like 5 or 6 aldermen quit based upon her. Like a mad exodus. Either they retired and say, you know what, I'm out. And they left. So a lot of automatic seats were up for running. And so,
wow,
just upon her attitude and not getting along with anybody, her own base, the LGBTQ plus community, they didn't support her this time. Now, you piss off your own people, that says a lot.
Screwed, yeah. Oh
yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow. I didn't wow. I knew there was some certain decisions just on the periphery where I looked at her and I'm like, man, I don't know if she's good for the city. Just looking at the Bears situation alone.
Yeah.
And all the things that surrounding Soldier Field, I'm like, I don't think she's good for the city.
Well, after the honeymoon's over with, when she's or anybody's like this, like, okay, now let's go to work. And let's talk about the whole Bears thing real quick. So there's other lands or other properties and other sites where the Bears could have moved to, but she didn't do it. And so when you pretty much lose, because we had a conversation before, the Bears playing at Soldier Field is small in comparison to the smallest in comparison to the other really big coliseums and metroplexes and everything else. So you have to compete,
right?
And so you would think that as the mayor, obviously bringing revenue into the city through the Bears, you would find a way.
Yeah,
we let it slip to Arlington Heights, was a suburb. I think it's like a 45-minute drive, maybe an hour away from Chicago. You lost to them, and you didn't even. I don't think she even tried to tell you the truth. I was not there. Obviously, it came off kind of. Well, they wanted to go, and like a last-minute effort. It wasn't a last-minute effort to keep them. Not at all. So between that and, of course, her behaving the way, the new elect for mayor, Brandon Johnson, I wish him the best, and he does remind me of what could be, because again, as you said on the show last Wednesday, you incorporate your enemies, incorporate your people, because everybody have ideas,
right?
And maybe incorporate everybody and sit down and break bread. What we're going to do to get some ideas to keep the city moving forward, because in the debates I saw, everybody on debate had good ideas.
Right.
So bring them in and have conversation to make it better.
Yeah. Wow. So my concerns were founded then. Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy because when I would think of just all the things that she was doing just on the sports realm, I was like, man, I don't know if she's going to get another term. I just don't. Well, and then when I got a chance to talk to you a little further about Uncle Lori or Uncle Foot, I was like, oh boy, it looks like she is on the clueless side. Just with anything.
Well, you have to know your history with. Well, you have to know your history with the Bears. Yeah, and say the Bears and the Green Bay Packers, they were the cornerstones of the NFL. Period.
Yeah,
and so you're losing history by them leaving Chicago. No offense to Arlington Heights, I'm sure they have great people there. We're talking about the heart of the city of Chicago, where you had two teams at one point: Chicago Bears and Chicago Cardinals. Football team at one point. Right. So it bothers me that they're leaving, because again, I've seen them all my life playing here, and now it's a whole new era, but that happens. I don't think she knew the legacy or expected the legacy to work harder to keep them here in the city of Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that was I think to me that was a good feather in the Bears cap, the fact that Chicago is the largest metropolitan city in NFL that actually has a team playing within the city limits. And I thought that was a huge feather in their cap. It was like, that's kind of cool. A city that huge, and they're playing near downtown Chicago. I think that is awesome.
It was great while it lasted, and you had the beautiful lakefront, Lake Michigan, right there. Get that nice breeze, and during the fall and everything else. It is, you couldn't have painted a better picture, for that scenario. And again, just to give an idea, if they were to go south, because the south where I used to live on the South Shore, on the lakefront, there's tons of land.
Yeah.
Tons of land that they could have built there. But no, she made it clear that I'm not going to help Black people. And that's a whole different conversation before, in her own way, when they were situations when we had some unfortunate lootings downtown in the downtown area. So she rose the bridge and downtown to make sure that the commerce stores were not looted, and then was talking about cutting off the arteries for buses and subways we call L's to come downtown. So she made it clear that she didn't want no black or brown people coming to downtown to loot. Now they looted anyway.
Of course.
I mean, because they got wind, they had an attack idea. They went in and did their business, unfortunately. I don't condone that.
No.
But nobody was killed, which I think was a marvelous situation, because usually something like that, things escalate. I remember there's one story they had on ABC 7 where the guy who owned this jewelry store, the guys came in and robbed him and said, "Sir, I'm sorry." Now, how many robbers are going to apologize to you saying, "I'm sorry"? And there was no guns and no knives, no nothing. So what can I say? It was a time that I really didn't appreciate, but nobody was killed from my perspective. Not that I remember, but just the fact that you have made it clear as the mayor that black and brown folk are not allowed here. I'm gonna do what it takes to protect the commerce of downtown Chicago, what they call the Gold Coast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just insulting.
Wow.
But she pissed off everybody.
Wow. I'm trying to think. The priest area in Chicago is called the Magnificent Mile, right?
Correct. There you go.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So that's what she wanted to protect. Wow.
Yeah. High-end stores and things of that nature. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely. A person show you their colors, man. That's how they operate.
Yeah, it is. It is. Ryan says, wait a minute, isn't it called the Ra's al Ghul Bridge tragedy a la Batman Begins? It probably was.
Batman was filmed here, yes, during the Christian Bale era. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are other bridges that goes down towards the south, downtown Chicago, but he's right. They had those bridges. We saw the scenes with the bridges laid out. Yeah, that's downtown Chicago.
Yeah, Vic, who also lives in Chicago, says, yeah, I remember that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, oh wow, I think for baseline, I think I pulled a clip, pulled the pic that actually did that, because I was like, it was interesting. I'm seeing the bridges drawn up, and it doesn't look like anything's burning. Doesn't look like it's a disaster.
Right.
So it's for that. Wow.
Yeah.
See,
incredible.
That is incredible. See, I'm learning something new every day. Oh, Vic also has a request. He says, we're going to seal the ever-living away, and I would like to ask Mr. Bass to send her and her sarcophagus back to Hades.
Man, she's already there. I got job free on the foot, man. She's already there. I mean, look on her face. First of all, every time that I would see her on TV, she was always defensive. And let me say this up front. It wasn't to piss off people who have a certain height. That was not my point. Right. I got that from a line from Rudy. You're 5 foot nothing. That came from Charles S. Dutton. So that's where I got that from. Not to offend the people who have their height community. I'm not trying to defend them. My point was, going back to the foot, it doesn't have a lot to do with her psyche, because it goes back to the whole thing about having the Napoleonic complex.
Right.
I mean, it's not my fault that you look like Beetlejuice. It's not my fault. And I won't say your name 3 times because I don't want to give you any power.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she did look like Gollum too.
Oh,
look, man, that's a lot.
I can't unsee that now, man.
Gollum and Beetlejuice, and I like Beetlejuice. I didn't like her.
I can't unsee that now.
Yeah.
Oh, Gollum. Oh my.
Yeah, I think one day I posted the side by side comparison.
You did?
Not much difference.
Not at all.
Not much difference. They had a presser, not a presser, but they had a photo op of Brandon Johnson and Lori Lightfoot together as they walk into the 5th floor of City Hall downtown. The old guard coming, the new guard, and everything else. She looked wrecked. I mean, she looked like somebody beat her ass with a baseball bat.
Wow.
And she does. She had the dark circle under her eyes and stuff like that. like somebody just, peekaboo just kept hitting them and became more puffier. I don't think she had any sleep. I think her ego is completely smashed, and she's already look. After this, probably the only time in my history, transport people back to hell, that she will voluntarily walk her ass back to hell.
Not walked herself back.
She's gonna walk herself back. She's gonna go back home.
Oh gosh. Victor says the ancient spirits evil broke the mold, and I wish they hadn't.
Yeah. It is the damnedest of shame.
He said that she voluntarily walked back to Hades.
When they have the swearing in of Brandon Johnson as mayor of the city of Chicago,
yeah,
and after that, that's her day to voluntarily, without me even laying a hand or doing dominoes, she herself will walk her ass back home. There's nowhere else to go. They're waiting for you.
She will voluntarily walk herself back home, and they're waiting for her.
They're waiting for you. Ain't nothing I can do.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do nothing for you, man.
Oh. Great. Now I have that song from PE playing in my head. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do nothing for you, man.
I can't do nothing for you,
man.
Nothing.
Oh, my gosh.
Man, I'm telling you. It's kind of rough, Doctor.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of rough.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. What else I wanted? I wanted to ask something.
Sure.
I can't think of. Let's see if I want to. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can ask you this because, and I think I might prime the pump with my mentality partner here when I ask this question. So, of course, where I live, Nashville, late last month, there was a school shooting, and you had that. And then later on, they had the proceedings of the former president getting arrested and not getting arrested. I'm sorry, getting arraigned. And on Fox, you had Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry, and he was interviewing one Jason Whitlock. And Jason went in, and it was like almost like a 4.5-minute tirade. But the gist of it was when he said, quote, "I've never voted at all, but the left is making me hardcore MAGA now." Close quote. Now, when you hear something from a sports analyst saying something that is social justice / political and is being that biased and is basically not portraying himself as a journalist, how does that make you feel?
Jason Whitlock, I'm coming for you. I got escort you back home to hell.
Uh-oh.
And here's why.
Uh-oh.
Jason Whitlock has always taken conservative bent or lean, even if it was so-called doing sports programming back on FS1.
Correct.
And so I don't know if that's planned by the, once again, programmers, producers. You take the left and you take the right and make it political, stuff like that. It wouldn't surprise me because there's so much at stake.
Wouldn't surprise me either.
Right. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. You take this role, I take the other role, whatever. So his role has been that, and he's that dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's that house Negro.
Exactly. And so, like Malcolm X said, field Negro, house Negro. Come on, man, let's go away. Let's go with this cruel master. What do you mean? As good as we got it here? Hey, I'm good, boss. He's that. So the thing about it is, when I hear about Jason Whitlock, it makes my skin crawl. It gives me the willies. Because here's a guy who obviously does not know who he is. This dude is black. And not only black, you're black and you're fat. So, dude, you gotta you gotta slow your jelly roll and your stomach. You gotta slow it down, Doc. And so I believe when he does his analysis on viral video, I believe it's The Blaze. I believe The Blaze is owned by Glenn Beck.
It is. It is owned by
Glenn
Beck.
So there you go. So he's a part of that. And I like Glenn Beck. I met Glenn Beck in person before he gave his soul to the right. Actually a good guy. Gave me great advice about radio back in the day when he was here in Chicago. Great guy. I love Glenn Beck. So I know the path he was on at that time. This dude is crying for attention. This dude wants a hug. This dude wants to be in the family of white people and be the boss.
He wants to be relevant.
To be the boss.
He wants to be relevant. He wants to be
exactly.
relevant, and that's what I said about him when I spoke on him on mentality. He wants to be relevant. He wants to, like, dude, there's nothing. You're not doing anything to be relevant. But what are you doing that's relevant besides bashing your own people? What are you doing? What, you and the white folks to cheer you on, dude? Use trash. He's bum trash.
He is. And I believe deep down he knows it. He's not a dumb Negro. He's actually kind of smart.
He is.
But from the standpoint of business and content and how you project yourself and how you comport yourself in broadcasting and doing podcasts and everything else, he just wants to be relevant, going back to what you said, Wise, and the fact that he isn't. So you say and do things to get attention. That's what everybody does to a degree. So he's no different, but to go into the den of stupidity at Fox News and to sit there and then to embrace MAGA, are you kidding me? You might as well embrace the devil himself.
Wow. Probably has. Which he probably has.
Yes, absolutely.
Which he probably has. Because to me, it blows my mind that in order for you to feel comfortable with yourself, you need to go and bash people of color.
He's done it before.
You have to demean what he's irrelevant to me. He is nothing. He does things so he can get clickbait, so he can get clicks and likes, and you's a bum. You're not relevant. You don't do what you're supposed to be specialized in, which is sports. So now you want to go into politics and social issues. You're not an expert in those things. All you're giving is your opinion, which to me is irrelevant. You're a fool, an idiot that could care less for. And I'm upset that I'm actually wasting more time speaking on this bum.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll give him the attention because he's the phony, fake, and the fraud. You want attention, I give it to you. You know, you don't deserve
a fraud
to be on the screen. Now, again, everybody has a difference of opinion. I get all that, but he has a track record, as you said, about going after his own people. I reiterate, when I was teaching back at Illinois Media School, I told my students, this is not what you want to become. I use them as an example. Because again, I reiterated before in this program and other programs that I've been a guest on and everything else, when this man, going back to Fat Yass, Jason Whitlock, when Fat Yass sat next to LeVar Arrington, football god, you know, he played the game and everything else. He told him, meaning Mr. Arrington, you have no idea what you're talking about when it came on the football. How dare you?
Right.
How dare you?
He suited up and played. And I know Whitlock did too, but he didn't do it at the pro level.
Whitlock,
unlike Arrington did. Right.
Yeah, Whitlock probably played it into, and it's like, man, get your ass off the field and go get us some water. And some of these sports writers, I hate to say, they're jealous. They're jealous of the people that they had to work with because they played the game and they did not. There's a deep hatred with some of these so-called sports journalists. Just because you didn't make the cut or you rode the bench, don't play or hate on somebody who's done it.
Right.
But they do. There's little incendiary comments and things like that. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Go ahead, DOS Effects.
Yep.
Don't get me started on it. And I know hate's a bad word. I don't give a goddamn. I hate Jason Whitlock. There's nothing he could say or do that I would be impressed by.
I agree with you 100%. To me, he's worse than he's not even no class.
He's lower than no class.
Lower than no class.
Wow.
And that's low.
That's real low.
Yeah. That's about it low.
This pond scum worth more than he is.
Wow.
Well, you know, like I said before, if he came up in the era of being a house Negro, I'll do what you want, boss. He would be that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on here, Blackie, shine my shoe. yeah.
No.
He'll be that dude.
Now, what's the matter, Master? We
Oh
sick.
no,
we sick.
He would be like, Master, the people out there, they plan on running away. He'd be that dude. He'd be the one snitching.
Yeah, exactly right.
He wouldn't snitch, yeah.
He'd be the one snitching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He'll be that dude. I mean, he get the master's clothes. Here, Blackie, here's some old drawers I had from 2 years ago. Oh my Lordy, thank you so much. I'm gonna put these holy drawers on right now. Oh Lordy, Lord, oh good. Oh man, I feel so good. Can't get. Oh, I want to give me some grits. Yeah, he'd be that. I'm telling you. You think I'm both? He's that dude.
No, I know you're not. I know you're
yes.
not. Oh my God.
It's like, well, how Blackie sing his old Negro spiritual. Yeah, there you go, boss. Here we go. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, and a 2, and start. Yeah. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3. Lord, we're happy being on the field. Lord, we're happy. This is how we deal. Good God now. Lord, we're happy being on the field. I'm happy. And here we go again. A 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. Lord, we're happy. He's that dude.
Wise, I am this close. To it when we do mentality and fight Chris on it. I actually do the same thing he's doing here. I'm this close to asking that, but I don't want to though.
And hurts your parts.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
oh,
he's that dude, man.
Oh,
You might have to create a segment for bass.
Only if you want to, man.
Well, look, let me know, man, because I can picture
have
you
to
with
create
a
a segment for bass
with a fiddle and everything, man.
Because already told Wise as a get ready, you about to lay into Jason Whitlock again. and I knew that he wasn't one of your favorites too, man. And I was like, and when I saw it, when I saw his rant on air, I was just thinking two things. I was like, you really don't care about the people who look like you, and you aren't acting like a journalist.
No, journalism to a degree is gone.
Yes.
Journalism is hard to find. It's taking the back seat to controversy and hearsay, unfortunately.
Listen, journalists died with Barbara Walters, Walter Cronkite, all these journalists. Now you got this ass clown walking around acting like he has something important to say. Again, irrelevant. He is irrelevant. He wants to make himself relevant. So the way he does it is to get the master's approval.
Yes.
By bashing his own.
Of course.
That's it. It's he is a
No, it's amazing when people sell their souls or maybe they pretended. Like, I was a staunch fan of Tavis Smiley. I love that brother. Tavis was tight.
I was too. I
would look forward to him doing his commentary on the then Tom Jordan Morning Show. And then he had a PBS show that aired. Great interview. Probably one of the greatest interviewers I ever seen.
Same.
Yes.
I
give him
got
that.
I got a few pointers from him. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And we're around the same age, so I looked up to him for guidance as another person of color that was a broadcaster. So I got some. I didn't get his books, but I got some excerpts from people that emailed to me, and I read about some of them and everything else. And I liked the brother until
Yep.
when
Started to be a
Barack
little
Obama came along, he did an about face and 180.
Whew, yeah, he did.
And I believe it's simple as this. Back in the day, and it used to air on C-SPAN, Tavis Smiley would have what they call the State of the Black Union. So the state
on C-SPAN, it would air on C-SPAN. Yeah,
there you go. He had 2 rounds. He had 2 forums, and then 2 forums of guests. And so the second forum, no offense, the first forum was the heavy hitters. They had Reverend Jesse Jackson, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Maxine Waters, and those people.
Right.
And so I look forward to the second round, and they just, chop it up. Dr. Cornel West, before he lost his mind, same with Tavis. But before they lost their minds, they're really on to something when it came down to consciousness in this country and consciousness about how we are across the globe. And I really admire that. And then all of a sudden, for someone like Tavis Smiley, who aligned himself as a student of Dr. King, who talked about being pro-Black and pro-African-American thing and people of color, for him to do about face, when Tavis came along, I'm like, you've been fooled and you've been a fool and phony all this time. You wouldn't have done the about face.
Yeah.
At all. So when, as the story was told to me, they invited Barack on one of the State of the Black Union that year in 2008. So he would run for the office, he ran for the presidency. It was like, look, I can't make it, but my wife Michelle can make it because Michelle writes all my speeches. She's highly intelligent, being a great guest. So Tavis didn't want Michelle, he wanted Barack. And as simple as that story is,
makes sense to me
that to me could bring out the pettiness in most people.
That makes sense to me now. So it all stemmed from that.
That's what I believe.
Wow. Yeah, because you're right. As soon as Obama took office, I don't think I heard one complimentary thing Tavis ever said about him.
Which begs the question: how can you be pro-Black if you're against the brother running for the highest office in the land? Well, you think it was going to be you or somebody else? I mean, it just didn't make any sense. And I believe that's, as petty as that sounds, it makes sense to me. When a brother in broadcasting told me about that, I'm like, yeah, I believe that.
No, it might be petty, but it might be true. Sorry about that, Wise. Go ahead.
That makes sense. It makes it because it's like we, for some reason, when we feel jilted, we get petty. And it's not supposed to be that way. You should have accepted the fact that he could make it. Man is running for president. He has obligations. He has things. He has an election to win.
Right.
But he's offering you the second best thing.
Yeah. And
his wife, who's a very intelligent Black woman.
Yeah. Not chopped liver at all. Could probably talk.
A lot of people actually think she should run for office.
That's what I was about to say. They probably would say that she probably could talk Barack under the table with the knowledge she knows. Yeah.
But this is the pettiness of us, because it is. It's like if you feel jilted, now you're bad mouthing them. You're bashing them. Like, come on, we're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get anywhere doing this. We're not gonna advance as a people. Continuously to be petty. And since he didn't want to do your show, or he couldn't do your show, now you're gonna badmouth him. Oh, he's not. He's a piece. Like it just makes no sense to me.
Well, let me tell you something. It was. Let me see. Let me get the story straight. So this is when Tavis was making commentary on the Tom Jordan Morning Show. Had been there for 10 years.
Right.
He starts talking about Barack, and the audience didn't like it, which is the majority African American.
Of course.
They questioned it, and Tavis received death threats during this time on the Tom Jordan Morning Show, and he had to be removed. And Tom fired him, and told him, let the door not hit you, the good Lord split you, and he got him out of the door.
Yeah, because Tom was all about Barack.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you look at the presidential race, and he did it. He became at the time president-elect Barack Obama. Then here comes Tavis Smiley on NBC's what I call Meet the Press. He's on Meet the Press, a movie called Meet the Press. Meet the Press, and bad-mouthing Barack. I mean, 6 days to Sunday, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. And I'm like, man, I used to like this brother, but can't rock and roll with you anymore. And him and Dr. West, those dudes, Dr. West was like, I don't know, like Professor Charles Xavier from the X-Men to me.
Yeah.
He was that brother and still is. Now, someone asked me one time on the show, if you could bring back the black community, Dr. West or Tavis. Oh, it's simple. I'm bringing back Dr. West. That's simple.
Because I learned something almost every time he opens his mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, no question. There's not a question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you see these things happen on any level, we do it to ourselves. Why? In my humble opinion, we hate each other. We do. There's no other way to say it.
Drop that mic, Bass.
There's no other way to say it.
Yes.
You wouldn't treat a dog that way.
Yeah. And it's a big example of why our communities are in turmoil. We don't give back. We rather not. We rather go spend our dollars outside of our communities instead of actually pouring back into our communities, spending our money in. And the black dollar is one of the dollar,
one of the most powerful dollars
in the country, and yet we don't spend it with each other.
No, but it definitely goes to what you both are saying. And it's funny that we're talking about this because Wise and I have different entrepreneurial lanes, although it's in the same genre.
Yes,
different lanes. I am hard pressed to think that I've gotten support from those who look like Wise and me and you, Bass. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about what you've done, because obviously I'm not talking about you in particular. But unfortunately, those who look like us, I don't get that type of support. But people who don't look like me, I've gotten that support. And it's amazing to me. It's utterly amazing to me how even we are talking about this. We are in the 4th month of 2023, and we have this self-hatred that still permeates our community. And from the understanding of that self-hatred, you can create a business. And I know so many of us who are entrepreneurs, and who have actually said this phrase ad nauseum. They said, "Man, to get support from my own is like pulling teeth." And it should be that should be a shameful thing. I mean, it should be the easiest way to get support, because you should be bigging up somebody who wants to better not just their own situation, but to better others.
I remember when I was back at WLS Radio, and we shared the building with WLS TV. So I was a board op before I became a host, and I had pulled 16 hours because I worked my 8, and the person couldn't make it, so I had to double working on his shift. So I was tired. So I get on the elevator, and there was a reporter named Bob Petty. And I'm once again grew up watching Bob Petty, idolized him. So I'm in the elevator, we go on the elevator, and I said, "Good morning, Mr. Petty, how you doing?" "I'm fine, how are you?" I said, "Well, kind of tired. I did my shift, and the other guy behind me couldn't come, so I had to work. Double shift."
All right.
Is that all you're talking? That's all? I said, "Yes, sir, that's all. That's 16 hours. That's what I like about you young people. You get the opportunity to succeed, and you won't even appreciate it." And I said, "Well, Mr. Petty, you are your last name." This is the crap I'm talking about. And maybe one day we do. I have many stories about how we put each other down. It is disgusting, and it's sad. And going back to Mr. Petty, who, again, goes back to hell as far as I'm concerned, you don't get tired? Of course you get tired. I pull a 16-hour shift. I'm tired. No, I can't be tired.
Yeah, you're a human being.
I can't be tired. It's like, damn me.
Look,
to stay up there for the rest of your life, just pass out on the control board.
Right.
Pretty much. So,
absolutely.
These things, once again, whether it's our own hatred for each other, racism, and anything else we throw in the bag, we have to fight. We have to fight. I fight. I do it because I fight for my family. I fight for my daughters. I fight for my grandchildren. I fight because hopefully for my grandchildren, it might be better. Right. I pray it gets better. But racism is passed down generation to generation.
That is the most unfortunate of truths, but you are correct.
Yeah. Gotta fight.
Yeah.
Never let the bastards get you down. Never.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
And
agree.
No. And having the experience of being a security officer, I have pulled 16-hour shifts 4 days in a row. I can tell you, anybody who pulls one of them, I tip my cap to you because that is not easy.
Ain't nothing nice.
No, it is not.
Ain't nothing nice. Man, look, this is extended, man. I thank you guys for the opportunity to be myself once again.
No, go ahead, Sly. I love that.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I wanted to do that because I think you deserve to have this platform, and
thank you so much.
And we enjoy having conversations with you, whether it is on the lighthearted side or the serious side, because I love the fact that we get a chance to laugh and learn at the same time.
I like that.
All right, so where can people find you, good sir?
Oh man, I haven't done this in a while. I gotta brush myself off. So the best way to contact me is to go to facebook.com and type in Chris Bass, CHRISB, as in broadcasting ASE. Again, over the years, I don't know how it happened. It ballooned now to maybe 2,000 and some Chris Basses out there. I didn't birth them. I will work with them. I didn't birth them. I don't work with them. So I'm the original. So when you see my likeness up there, put up there, we want to be friends. Check out my content. I have 2 shows, CBI on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And of course, Baseline will air later on today. Once again, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you don't do anything else, go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
I always love that. I do.
Oh, I think it. I like it if you love it. That's good. That's great.
Chris Bass, who joins us every Friday at the bottom of our number 2. We decided to extend it because the conversation is so good and the company is so good and the gentleman is absolutely so wonderful. Chris Bass, always a pleasure. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, gentlemen, as well. For those of you people out there that celebrate Easter, have a wonderful Easter, have a peaceful one, and enjoy yourself. And realize that you're not the only one in pain because someone had went through the pain for you. And I'll leave it at that.
Chef's kiss on that. Could not agree more on that. Woo.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bass.
Always a pleasure to have Bass on, man. Always a pleasure.
It is, man. I enjoyed that. I wanted to extend it because I enjoy having conversations with him, and he just pulls out nuggets that you don't expect.
Yeah, I enjoy my time with Bass. I learned so much from him, so I'm always checking him out, checking his show out.
Yeah,
and
of course, definitely do it. Baseline on his own Facebook page, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. Definitely, it'll be worth your time later on today. And he also does wonderful interviews too. You can check out Chris Bass interviews. That's Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on his Facebook page. Yeah. No matter which one, you will learn something from that man because
you definitely get some great content from him. always putting up some positive stuff, always giving back to the community, having people from the community. So it's been a pleasure and an honor to actually watch his show and learn from him and being able to speak to him. I had him on stuck in my mind. We had a great conversation. So it's a great experience to be able to meet someone who's been doing this for so long, and you can learn from that person. And so I'm blessed to be able to have met him and have him a part of my life. So
yeah, and I might have to get him on Revelation sometime soon because I want to have a conversation with him because I think it would be wonderful. Well, it almost feels like this is mentality, so I can't say that's all the time we have for mentality. But
no, this is Snowman. This is Snowman in the morning.
Snowman in the morning. But it is all the time we've had for Snowman in the morning. Check us out though Monday. Actually, I'll do you better. If you want to hear stuff on mentality, you've been hearing the name of the show, you'll get things like this.
And Lauren Harvey is for the streets, just so y'all know.
And Lauren Harvey is for the streets.
She's for the streets. She's for the streets, my guys.
Oh my gosh. Also, mentality is for the streets, but not in that vernacular. But and that was unsolicited. We did not talk about Lori Harvey on that show. But if you want to have that type of stuff that you want to hear and more, tune in to Mentality on the Kobe Media Incorporated and the Real Wise TV YouTube channels. And you can always catch the replay every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on the BS3 network via Roku TV. And we thank all of you for the continued support because of you, we do the show that is the ultimate masculine safe space. Man. But now that will do it for Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I'm joined by my brother, Wise El Jefe, for him and for the recuperating from whatever, Snowman. I hope everything's well with you. To the Fanatic Feedback Zone, thank you so much. And thank you to the viewing and the listening audience. We appreciate you. That will do it for this episode. And as we say, always imparting, take care. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, well, they aren't big enough, but basically, if the dreams don't scare you, take them.
Vicola, I don't lose it on people, man.
Okay, before I do shut it down for the day. I love this. It is hilarious. It says checkout mentality to see Bizarro Wise lose it on someone else. I was like Bizarro Wise. Well, yeah, you're Lawman Wise here, but you're Bizarro Wise with mentality. Oh God, this is why Victor is one of the biggest MVPs because he gets us, and he's such a wonderful dude. We appreciate you, man. He says, "Look, seriously, Mentality is an amazing show, and if you haven't checked it out, please do so." And we're glad that you check it out every time, man. We really thank you. And Ryan, same with you.
Ryan, don't speak such blasphemous words ever,
oh, Lord,
ever.
He says, "Happy Easter or Resurrection Sunday to all who observe and celebrate."
No, I'm talking about the comment he wrote.
I know. I'm getting to that. I know. I see it.
Happy Easter to everyone out there as well. Yes.
And yes, and happy Resurrection Sunday to you, Ryan. Glad to know that I am amongst someone who's a believer like me and likewise as well. He says, "Look," Victor says, "Look, I didn't say you. I said Bizarro Wise." but the comment that had the Yankee fitted gentleman in an uproar was this one. He says, "Bizarro Wise would not be wearing a Red Sox cap."
No, I would never. I don't care how Bizarro Wise is. He would never do such a thing.
No,
never. Because even Bizarro Wise is a Yankee fan.
Yeah. After all, he took to task women. Took to task a woman who said that, look, a man who makes $1,000 a week is still broke. He took to task that woman, and then he promptly said afterwards,
bizarre wise, yeah. Go ahead.
He said, quote, and that's all I got to say this week. And oh yeah. Oh, wait a minute, let me do this correctly. It says, and that's all the time I got this week. And oh yeah. Boston,
yeah.
Close quote.
So yes, even Bizarro Wise says such things about Boston.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord.
And if we weren't on radio,
I know you'd say it. I know you'd say it. Hall TV says the community is growing. Yes, it is, and it's part to you. So thank you, sir. It says check out all the channels that were either featured or commented in the Fanatic Feedback Zone, including his. Yes, including Hall TV as well. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother.
Definitely.
Dream big, do bigger, because that's what we're all doing, as Hall TV has outlined. Definitely, that's what the two of us are doing. You see mentality. You're going to see another episode debuting Monday, and we hope the same for you too. De Portnoy, I hate it when Bizarro Wise is going to unleash on you.
Bizarro Wise is coming for you.
Bizarro Wise is about to unleash. So with that, I have to prepare for that show. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Resurrection Sunday, everybody. We will see you Monday.